Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions MC and producer. And joining me is the goddess of DC herself, the one, the only, the legend, the icon, Rayceen Pendarvis. Hey Rayceen.
How are you? Greetings and salutations to all.
Yes, and Rayceen, you and I had the privilege of chatting with members of the incoming woman majority of the Council of the District of Columbia.
Starting in January, 7 of the 13 council members will be women.
Can you believe? After one council member resigned, one chose not to seek re-election, and one lost its primary race in 2020. 3 women were elected to the DC Council.
All who were interviewed several times by me and Krylios.
Yes, honey. And those interviews are all available on the Team Rayceen YouTube channel. And now, for the first time together on our channel, we present the women of the DC Council.
Welcome to the women of the DC Council.
Hi, everyone. We are very, very, very pleased to be joined by you all, council members. Please introduce yourselves. I'll start with Councilmember Nadeau.
Hi, I am Ward 1 Councilmember Brianne Nadeau. I'm so thrilled to be here with you today, Rayceen. I've just loved joining your show for all these years since I was first elected back in 2014. Thank you.
Awesome. And I'll go next to Councilmember Pinto.
Thank you, Krylios. Hi, Rayceen. Nice to see you. I'm Brooke Pinto. I'm the council member representing Ward 2 on the DC Council. I was elected this summer in a special election, June 2020, and I'm thrilled to continue my service representing Ward 2 for the next 4 years.
Thank you so much. And I'll go next to Councilmember George.
Thank you, Krylios. Hi, Rayceen. So great to see you again. My name is Janeese George. I'm a third-generation Washingtonian, born and raised in Ward 4, where I was just elected as the council member for Ward 4 on the DC Council.
Awesome. Next, we'll go to Councilmember Cheh.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mary Cheh. I'm the council member for Ward 3. I was first elected in 2006 and was sworn in 2007. I've lived in the district for over 40 years. The council was my first run at elective office. And prior to that, I served on various commissions or committees at the national level. And I'm also a very long time, I'm afraid, a law professor at George Washington University.
Thank you so much. And then we will move on to Councilmember Silverman.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Krylios. Hi, Rayceen. How are you?
Fine,
Good to see you. And I'm thrilled to be joining the 6 women, my 6 women colleagues. So I'm Elissa Silverman. I'm at-large member, meaning I'm citywide. I'm one of the 2 independent women on the council. And I've lived in the district since the mid-90s.
Amazing. And
I was elected when Brianne was elected, 2014.
And last but not least, we'll go to Councilmember Henderson.
Hi, Krylios, Rayceen. Thank you guys both for this invitation. It's so good to be with my future colleagues. My name is Christina Henderson. I'm the Councilmember-elect to represent at large. So citywide, I'll be sworn in next year.
Awesome. And thank you all so much for taking the time out to do this with us. It is really our pleasure to have you here with us. Now, our first question is for the council members who have been on the council the longest. So have any of you previously been part of a majority female council? And how do you feel about having an incoming female majority? Anyone can take this one who's been there the longest.
Okay, I'll take it since I've been here probably the longest. DC is special among all states and comparable large cities that since the Home Rule Act that we've had in 1973, there's always been this rich history of women being elected and also appointed to office here. And there were three periods, 179-81, 185-87, and then 97 to 99, when there was a majority of women on the council. I have not served that long. So I've not served. This is my first chance to serve with a majority women on the council. And by the way, if we ever go back to our building in the Wilson building, as you walk along that first floor hallway, you'll see the pictures of the prior council members. And it's really impressive to see, the women in many of those pictures. So I haven't served with a majority female council, and this will be my first experience, and I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. Rayceen and I, we just recently spoke with Carol Schwartz, and she was telling us about, the first time she was on a majority female council in 97, 98, was it? Yes. So it's great to also be having this conversation again. What about you, Councilmember Nadeau?
Well, I joined after Councilmember Cheh, and so I also have not yet served with a majority of women colleagues, although we used to have more, and now we're going to have more again. So it's very exciting. I'm thrilled because, women in public office we are known to be collaborative, to lift up the voices of those we serve, to be willing to work together to really achieve the goals of the people that sent us to office. And with all due respect to our male colleagues, we're better at it. So I'm thrilled. And I'm really excited about these fabulous women who are joining us, to have Councilmember Pinto join us this year and to have Council members Henderson and Lewis joining us in January. I think it's going to be awesome. And we're going to get a lot done on all the important issues like housing and education and workforce development and supporting families. And it's an exciting time for the District of Columbia.
Awesome. Now, for the three new and incoming council members, I'm glad that you just mentioned them, Councilmember Nadeau. For the incoming ones, tell me, how have your expectations changed now that you know the Council of the District of Columbia will be majority female? Anyone can go. Pinto, George, Henderson, anyone can go.
Sure. Well, I think my expectations have absolutely changed, both from a substantive vantage point as we have priorities around protecting our small businesses and particularly our minority and women-owned businesses and increasing menstrual equity and reproductive justice and ensuring that we have better access to early childhood education. From a substantive perspective, I think a diversity of lived experiences and a diversity of thought is really important as we move those goals along. But also, as Councilmember Nadeau mentioned, from a process perspective, our tendency to be collaborative, to genuinely have an open mind when we work with one another. I've been so privileged to work with Councilmember Nadeau and Councilmember Silverman, Councilmember Cheh, and Councilmember Bond so far, and I'm so eager to work with Councilmember Henderson and Councilmember Janeese Lewis-George, because I think women as a whole are really motivated by collaboration and motivated by consensus building and getting to the right answer as opposed to winning or taking credit. So I am really thrilled, and my expectations have absolutely changed and made me very optimistic for what we'll be able to accomplish in the coming term.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just echo what Brooke was saying. I'm excited about the tone and tenor of debate. So I, unlike the other new members, I have served as a staffer on the council. So I have a little bit of insight in terms of sometimes the shenanigans that can happen behind the scenes or the debates that can happen behind the scenes. So I'm excited about maybe changing a little bit of that, especially as we're facing some of the challenges going forward. But I also know for me too, I felt like, in my campaign, I felt like I was the only one who was talking about issues around childcare and working families in some cases, specifically speaking from my lived experience, being a parent. And we have, I think, it's just an issue that will come to the table a little bit more. I feel like we're always looking to see who's not at the table, who should be there, and elevating those voices in terms of how do we really move forward and progress for the entire community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Rayceen, you have a question too.
For several years, the DC has had a female chief of police. Recently, the current police chief announced that he is stepping down in 2021. What are your thoughts of the selection of the new chief of the Metropolitan Police Department of the District of Columbia? And that could be to anyone.
I will start and say I'm hoping the new police chief will be collaborative and willing to work with community members, work with council members and stakeholders, that they view the role, I think, as we all view our role here on the council as public servants, being of service to the community, and that being one of the key tenets that drives their leadership is serving our community. I hope, from, my time as an assistant attorney general, one thing that we focused on was using evidence-based approaches to violence reduction. And I'm hoping that the new police chief is willing to use some of the evidence-based approaches to violence reduction that we've studied at the attorney general's office and that we were effective with, to make sure that we are making sure that we're keeping our community safe and we're doing so effectively. I think anyone who is, willing to be a part of the discussion as it relates to policing, the history of it, the acknowledgement of that, and how we move forward as a community, I think will be a good addition for police chief.
Really important. Now, the District of Columbia has had a female mayor, female congressional delegate, who does not get a vote in the House floor, meaning DC has taxation without representation, and now an incoming female majority council. What do you think that says about DC voters, Councilmember Silverman? Oh, you're muted.
Somebody had to do it. I think it says that DC voters are looking for the best candidates to represent them. And at this time, and I just want to make a note, Krylios and Rayceen, that I think this is the first time we've all been together.
Oh.
You have the honor of—
Thank you. Well, we're very happy about that.
It's unfortunate Councilmember Bonds couldn't join us, but this has been the first time we've all been together. But, I think that district voters want someone who they feel is going to represent their views. And at this time, 7 women are representing the views of voters, represent the voters' point of view. I'll just say one thing on the police chief. I was looking back, and it's really amazing that Kathleen Lanier served almost a decade as police chief. And it was such I lived here at the time. It was really groundbreaking to have a big city police chief be a woman. And then Chief, it's so funny because Chief Lanier held that position for so long, it became normalized. Like it wasn't odd that a woman was police chief. And I think that should be of note. And also I think, and this might be getting into more controversial territory, but I do think Chief Lanier brought a certain compassion to that role and approachability that I do think had some feminine qualities to it, or qualities that maybe Councilmember Pinto and others alluded to before, of being collaborative and also just having the lived experience. Often she would mention being a single mom and the challenges that she faced and the stresses that she faced. And But anyway, I was looking back at our police chiefs, and I said, and it was striking to me how long she served. But anyhow, go women.
Awesome. Yes. And I want each one of you to answer this question. So we will have a new presidential administration in January. Now, if each of you could write a note on a Post-it, which would be placed on President Biden's desk and read by him on his first day, what would you write? Now, I will start with Councilmember Cheh.
Okay, well, I thought about Post-it notes being somewhat small, so my message should be somewhat small. And mine would be Kamala Harris has incredible talents. Use her.
Awesome. Councilmember Nadeau.
So I thought a lot about this, actually, not because I think someone's going to carry my Post-it over there, but because when you're deciding who to vote for president in a primary, you think about, as a leader, the issues that you can't tackle on your own. And in the District of Columbia, there's two very big issues that we grapple with besides statehood, which are gun violence and immigration rights. And only a leader in the White House can help us move forward on those issues. And so for me, it would be the encouragement that he persevere regardless of what's going on in Congress, that he and Vice President Harris are focused on those issues to help our constituents.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Councilmember Pinto.
Can I have room for two on the Post-it note?
Sure.
I would say DC statehood should be the #1 priority for the Democratic Party, and that he should move forward on that right away. And second, I would like him to appoint more women in cabinet positions.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I'll go to Councilmember George.
All right, I'm gonna do like Brooke. I need space for two. The first one is we need our money. Please restore the District CARES Act money, the inauguration money from Trump inauguration. And we also need statehood designation in the stimulus funding. It's gonna be critical for us as we come out of COVID. We already are facing budget constraints. We all know what that impact that will have on cuts. And so we need our money. And I hope you will deliver that money to the district. And then my second thing would be cancel student loan debt, all of it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Henderson, what about you?
All right, man, Janeese took mine because I was going to come through on the student loan debt piece. So I will ditto what everyone has said, but I will add first, welcome back as a resident of the District of Columbia. On a lighter note, I hope you, patron our businesses in the city again. Like we used to have presidents who would go to dinner and all those and go see shows and all of these things. We haven't had that over the last 4 years. And I say the final thing is like, as a resident, please be mindful of traffic when you decide to motorcade across the city in the middle of the day.
This one is really hilarious to me, only because I saw the current occupant maybe 2 years ago, a motorcade passing by, and the reaction of the district residents were I tell the story all the time. The reaction just, if I was the president, I wouldn't care much for it. And, he was waving, and because the reaction wasn't the best, he kindly raised the window back up. Councilmember Silverman, what would you write on your Post-it notes?
Sure, I'll put it in small handwriting. Statehood's got to be our #1 ask. And then I agree with those who said we need a big stimulus. We need a big stimulus, and we need to be treated like a state. The third thing I'd say is he's a train guy. So get on Metro, Mr. President, and he appreciates public transportation. This is attached to the stimulus, but we need to have a vibrant public transportation system, and he's got to stop right near his new house for Metro, and actually a bus stop too.
Definitely, definitely. That's very, very important. That is so important. And to close us out, we would like each of you once again. We would like.
Can I just
Hold
interject?
up, you forgot.
Can I, you know, you all had like all these elaborate things. So bad on me to actually follow the rules. But okay. But I want to add one thing from a previous question.
Yes.
It's not just about women.
Put all that right here, Mary.
It's not just about women in office. That was a very big post-it. It's not just about women in office, not just about us. It's not just how we collaborate. All of that's very, very true. But I want to tell you how important it is that we're there to model for our daughters, our granddaughters, others. And I just want to quickly tell you, I was on the council and it was announced while I was driving in my car that Mayor Fenty had appointed Kathy Lanier as the police chief. I pulled over to the side of the road and called both of my daughters. I said, I have some fantastic news for you. So it's not just about us. Of course, it's about us, but it's about them too. I just want to point that out.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, go ahead, carry on.
No, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that.
I'm a rule follower, okay?
That's so.
How much I have on here, Mary's got all my financial information. So
it has to be readable. It has to be a regular post-it.
Can we zoom in on Elissa's screen?
I should have said, look, I have 17 items that
Yeah.
I would have put on. Okay. Anyway.
I love that.
Oh.
it's going to work really well.
Being in a city like this, that, we're going to have, a woman majority on the council running the city, it's really, really important. It's a big thing. There's not many cities in the United States that you would go and be able to see that. And so this really is an important moment and really important, for young people and daughters. And, this representation really, really matters, which is why I'm so glad that we took the time out to do this with you all. So we would like each of you to share what's at the top of your priority list for the new year as a council member, and what you personally hope to have happen in the District of Columbia in 2021. Please also share your social media and how viewers can connect and keep up with what you're doing. And I'll start right down the list with Councilmember Nadeau.
Thank you so much for that. Well, until we've done it, my number one goal will continue to be ending chronic homelessness. And as chair of the Committee on Human Services, you'll see that's where our focus will continue to be. I hope folks will join us in that effort. My social media is all at Brianne K. Nadeau, which is spelled out right below my face right here. So I look forward to engaging with folks there, and hopefully in 2021 in person again as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you today.
Thank you. Councilmember Pinto.
Krylios, it's great to be here with you all today. I think that my number one goal continues to be around COVID-19 recovery. We've seen the disproportionate effect of COVID-19 on women, both as frontline workers, on women leaving the workforce, on women having to do double duty or triple or quadruple duty at home and in their work responsibilities. And so getting our families the assistance that they need, and our small businesses the assistance they need to adequately recover, I think it continues and has to be our first priority, so that we can achieve everything else we hope to achieve in the next couple of years. Sort of legislatively, but another piece I'll add is I really hope to restore kind of a belief among our constituents. I think one of my favorite parts of the job is meeting with somebody who has a request, and that request is sometimes achievable, and translating that request into action. And that's another reason I'm so looking forward to working with this wonderful group of women, is to really take those requests, sometimes based on despair or frustration, or feeling like someone can't push forward, and making that a reality. And my social media is CM Brooke Pinto on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we've recently launched our new website, which is brookepintodc.com. Panelists.com. So thank you very much for having us. Can't wait to continue working with you all.
Thank you, Councilmember Pinto. And we'll go to Councilmember George.
Thank you. I think I'm going to have to say, as a number one priority for me, has to be flattening the curve in Ward 4. It has to be related to COVID. Ward 4 has seen some of the highest rates in the city. And we have yet to identify why that is and to be able to distribute services in a way that impacts us, and especially with our large senior population, as well as our large immigrant population and frontline worker population. That has to be a number one priority, and ensuring that the vaccine is going to be free and distributed fairly as soon as it's available. It is a part of making sure that we are flattening the curve here in our community. And I think I'll echo with what Councilmember Nadeau said with chronic homelessness, as well as preventing the evictions and the housing crisis that's bound to come from here. And my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are all Janeese, the number 4, DC.
Thank you so much, Councilmember George. And I'll go next to Councilmember Cheh.
Thank you very much. I too will be focused on COVID recovery, and the pandemic has highlighted some of the areas where I've been working, and so I want to make sure we pursue that. One is my eviction legislation and sealing of evictions and preventing evictions. Food access has been a big issue for me, and I've pursued that, very diligently, but it's even more important now, as we've seen. Our children, and particularly education and disparities in education that have only been highlighted and exacerbated by the pandemic. And of course, overall, I think that, the pandemic has obviously been front and center, but the pressing issue of our time is actually climate change. And so I've been working very hard on lots of legislation, and my continuing colleagues, but my new colleagues as well, will help me do that, because I've often said, if we don't take action, I know we're a small jurisdiction, but we have been a model. If we don't take action and act responsibly, the people will ask us later. People who are children now will say, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you help us, instead of leaving us with this dire situation? So those are the things that I'll work on and continue to work on. And let me say, colleagues of mine, I'm so delighted that we will be colleagues. And people were talking before about, well, what is it, with women? Nothing against men, but there is a sense of collaboration and cooperation. And I think, more of a focus on actually achieving results and getting things done than winning and, doing some of this other stuff that I've seen on the council. So we're going to see all these issues. They're going to be hard. We're going to have to work, in a steady, collaborative fashion. And with all of you, we'll be successful. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Councilmember. I'll go to Councilmember Silverman.
Great. Well, I look forward to collaborating. As chair of the Labor Committee, there's no doubt that economic recovery from COVID is my number one issue beyond the public health recovery. Krylios and Rayceen, there's dozens and dozens of workers in our city who are in my email every day telling me they can't pay their rent. They can't put food on the table, to speak to Councilmember Cheh's excellent work on food access, and they don't know what they're going to do. And I have to tell you, it has been heartbreaking to read those emails every day. So we have a lot of work to do. And I think, as Councilmember Pinto said, the impact has disproportionately been on women in terms of the economic impact, because women are asked to be not only breadwinners, but caregivers. And everyone knows how draining this time has been. I have to, I'm really bad at social media. I have to, oh shoot, I had to look at a Post-it note. But I'm at Tweet Elissa for, and I have two sites. Tweet Elissa is my site where I talk about issues and pizza and cheesesteaks. CM Silverman is my office site. I'm on Instagram, but I honestly can't tell you what our site is. So it might have Silverman in it. And I'm on Facebook too. I think it's CM Silverman.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. Thank you. Christina Henderson, Councilmember.
Let me just say, if the meetings go anything like this, we're going to be laughing a lot next year, and I'm really excited about it.
Chairman Mendelson will always chide us. It happened to me on many occasions.
But I already I already got my Christmas gift idea for Mary. I can get supersized Post-it notes for her.
Actually, Christina, can I interrupt? Because I realized what I forgot to give my
Social media
contacts or something like that, which is fine because I don't do them. My office does them. But in any event, Twitter is at Mary Cheh, and Facebook is under the Councilmember Mary Cheh page, and signing up for the newsletter is marycheh.com.
Thank you, Councilmember Cheh.
Whether this works or not, I have no idea.
So I want to echo my future colleagues just in terms of a priority is obviously going to be around COVID-19 recovery. But one area that I particularly want to focus on is around ensuring that we're stabilizing our childcare centers and homes so that that market is there once we have, folks vaccinated. So when folks are going back to work, they have that available to them. And then also how we are supporting our LEAs in the upcoming incredible work that they're going to have to do around learning loss that has taken place over the past almost year for our young people. What are we doing around summer school? What are we doing around planning? What are we doing around additional time? Continuing to close the digital divide. So under the larger umbrella of COVID-19 recovery, those are two places that are definitely going to be a priority for me. And on social, I can be found on Twitter at C Henderson and on Instagram at Christina Henderson DC.
Thank you, Christina. And Rayceen, of course, what closing words do you have for this fabulous forum?
I am honored and blessed to sit in the power of women. I am honored and blessed to celebrate the power of women. In my lifetime, I've had some of the strongest women in my life who showed me courage, perseverance, strength, and resilience. I think of this amazing moment, this pivotal moment, as we are on the eve of change for the first ever female vice president, and what that looks like for young girls all across the country, all across the world, to strive for excellence. And as we go into the new year, with the first time in a very long time in Washington, D.C., a female majority-led council. What does that say to a little young girl who say, I can, I will, and I shall? These are my role models. This is the blueprint of excellence. And there's no longer saying there is a glass ceiling. The glass ceiling has been broken. And I am so honored and so happy to sit in the company of greatness. And I thank all of you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Rayceen. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And the words that we really needed to hear. Thanks so much for that. And thank you for joining us, council members. This has been really, really great. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you're doing. And I look forward to all the work that you will get done in 2021 and beyond. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. We thank the council members for their time, and we thank their wonderful staff members for helping to coordinate. Rayceen, did you enjoy this Team Rayceen Forum?
It was wonderful. It was amazing. I would say it celebrated girl power, but these were not girls. These were strong women. So it celebrated the power of women.
Yes, the power of women. We also thank all of our viewers for watching. If you are already a subscriber to our YouTube channel, we thank you for that as well. If you aren't a subscriber, girl, just click on subscribe right now. Cause why, Rayceen?
It's totally free.
Yes, it is. And free is the best word in the English dictionary. So we thank you all for your support. Please use the links in the description to find additional information. Thanks again for watching.